You're listening to the Geek Watch Podcast, Episode 3, with your hosts, Brian J. Hatcher and Tony Slack. Hello, Geek Watchers, and welcome to the Geek Watch Podcast. My name is Brian J. Hatcher, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tony Slack.
Hey, Brian. How you doing tonight?
We're doing good, Tony. Hey, before we get started, I just wanted to mention we have a website now.
Exciting.
Yes, geekwatch.net. So anyone who wants to pick up any of our podcast will be hosted there. There'll also be links to all the other places where you can get our podcast, to SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. There's actually going to be a button on there where you can click the button and subscribe to the podcast, which, of course, recommend everyone do.
Absolutely. We're getting modern.
We are getting modern, indeed we are. So the easiest way to find us is, of course, go to geekwatch.net. So,
are we on MySpace?
We are not on MySpace. Man, they turned us down, dude.
Okay, well.
We are not retro enough.
It's all right.
And I think we have too big a following.
Okay,
so
that's exciting then.
It is. There you go. But, 4 or 5 is probably too big a following.
For MySpace.
We're way too big for MySpace now.
Excellent. We are making it.
So we went to see Alien Covenant this weekend.
Yeah.
So we didn't go together because...
No.
Because we can't all be in the same space. Mm-hmm. I think there's some sort of a law that they put out.
Life separates us for different reasons.
It does.
Including explosions of the two of us being in a theater together.
Oh, exactly.
So
what'd you think?
Oh, it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. Mm. Now, I will say it's the best Aliens I've seen since Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the story, but it turned out it was predictable. There was a couple of problems I had with it. Nothing major, but I didn't get to see anything new when it was over. I mean, it was more of the same. I mean, it was good. Michael Fassbender is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love his character. David is just probably the creepiest android to date in that series.
Yes.
But he's just not enough to reinvent the entire universe of Alien.
Well, I mean, I found myself in a situation where I didn't hate it. But I didn't love it either. I was kind of in the middle, and a lot of that had to do with very much like, The Force Awakens was kind of like a soft remake of A New Hope. This was kind of a soft remake of the original Alien.
Yeah, it was like, give me something new, and they couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, you have to understand, of course, that. I mean, the original Alien cast a pretty long shadow.
Oh, yeah.
It really does. And the thing is, we'd never seen anything like that before.
No, and we haven't since. I mean, when it comes to that genre, it was so creepy. I mean, I remember I didn't see it in theaters because I was too young, but when I saw it probably around 1980, it still was like a 9-year-old, like ABC Sunday night television. That movie was scary, even edited.
It was. But, the thing, and I think there's something when you look at, like, the original, and if somebody's out there who's not seen the original Alien, spoilers coming, just so that to warn you.
Yeah, you've got to see it.
You have to see it, definitely. Turn it off now if you've not seen the original Alien. But, of course, you have the chestburster scene.
Oh, yeah.
Which we'd never seen anything like that, and we didn't see it coming.
No, and neither did the co-stars of this movie.
Well, that's true, because there's that story that the actors were not told what was going to happen with the scene, and so the shock was pretty much real for them.
Yeah, the fake blood that splattered across the faces of Sigourney Weaver, Tom Skerritt, and the rest of the crew.
Oh, yeah.
It was absolute shock, and they were actually scared. They did not know what the hell was happening.
Oh yeah, it's like, what the heck is that? I mean, and it's an iconic scene. I mean, it is. I mean, even to the point where it was parodied in Spaceballs.
It was, with a nice little musical number.
With a nice, exactly, the nice musical number. But that's that's again, Alien casts such a long shadow. It's very difficult to redo it, even if it's just like a soft reboot. To be honest, Aliens cast a pretty long shadow on this movie because what they did was they didn't try to remake Alien.
No.
They gave us something. I mean, Cameron's vision was different.
Yeah.
It gave us what we wanted, but it also kind of, did some things that are different. Now, of course, with Alien Covenant, we did have a lot of references to Prometheus and that sort of thing, but very, very tertiary references. And a lot of this interesting things that we were kind of promised at the end of Prometheus just basically got kind of wadded up and thrown away.
Yeah, it was just like, we need to wrap this up and move on with the story. And
Yeah.
it was really unfair as someone that loved Prometheus as much as I did, because I thought Prometheus was just an awesome movie, and I still do. I had no problems with that movie.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to see what happened with these characters next, and it was like you said, it was like they just wadded them up and threw them away and said, let's move on.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of that has to do with the mixed reactions that Prometheus got.
Yeah.
A lot of people were going in expecting Alien, and they didn't quite get that.
No.
It was in that world, but it was a different thing, and it was definitely a very hard sci-fi kind of movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. You weren't really spoon-fed. You kind of had to watch it a couple of times before you caught on to everything that was going on.
Yeah, I think with what Covenant did is they went with trying to give us the feel of both Alien and Aliens at the same time. Because you had those intimate moments where you were fighting the alien, but then you also had those group moments that reminded you of Up Against the Marines. Mm-hmm. But in between, there was just nothing new. Now, like I said, I still enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it a lot. But is it something I'm going to pay to go see in theaters a second time to take it all in? I think I saw everything I needed to the first time around.
Yeah, Alien certainly has that rewatchability.
Oh, yeah.
They had that ability to develop this cast of characters that I just don't feel that Alien Covenant did as well.
No.
There's a lot of things that Covenant tried to do that were, I feel, just really were done better in Alien.
Yeah, and in fact, like I said, Fassbender, I thought he was amazing.
Oh yeah,
he had a dual role in it. Danny McBride, he surprised me. He was a fun character that you really wanted to root for. He had a little bit of heart, a little bit of meat to his character, but when the movie was over, it just made you feel like we know where this is going. This is a prequel to what's to come, so it's pretty hopeless for these characters no matter what happens, because it's just going to get worse and worse, because we know that we're not even to the point of Alien or Aliens at this point.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I think there was an interview that came out, and the next Alien movie in the franchise is going to be a prequel to Covenant.
See, I do not get that.
I was like, where's that? I mean, where are they going?
That's so confusing. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
I don't understand what they would be thinking to do that. I mean, maybe they're wanting to show us what happened between Dr. Shaw and David when they got to the Creator's planet, but we kind of know where that went by seeing Alien Covenant, so do I really want to go see 2 hours of that now? And maybe that's not what they're going to do. But the thing is, move the story along. I mean, we already know this is a prequel to Alien. Why?
Oh yeah,
like we said, why make a prequel to a sequel?
Well, it's like their series is being plotted by Quentin Tarantino and Pulp Fiction.
You think the Bride maybe will show up?
Well, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't be against that.
No, I would not either.
The Bride versus the Xenomorph.
Yeah,
that'd be an interesting.
Maybe they'll just write Sigourney Weaver's Ripley completely out, and we'll just continue with the Bride in Alien.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, the thing is, of course, Sigourney Weaver's going to be kicking a lot of butt in the new Defenders.
Oh yeah,
she's going to be like the main.
Awesome in it.
Well, it looks like she's going to be the main villain. Yeah. So I'm scared.
I don't think she can take on Luke Cage. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? This is Sigourney Weaver now.
Yeah, she's tough. Now she'll take Iron Fist.
Yeah, she'll take Iron Fist.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I guess basically our rating on this is going to be sort of kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, I would say worthwhile if you're an Alien fan.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say you're going to be shocked or expect something new, because you're going to get more of what you've seen. Mm-hmm. It's a fun summer popcorn movie.
Oh yeah,
it's not breaking any new ground.
No, it's definitely not doing that. It's a little bit more of the same. I think it's worth one view. Probably one view is going to be enough.
Yeah.
So that'll do that. So this is going to be an exciting week for you.
Oh yeah,
you're a big fan of the DC television shows.
Oh yeah,
and this is season finale week for you.
Yeah, yeah. It started last night with the finale of Supergirl, which was awesome. I'm not going to spoil anything for fans out there that watch the show, but if you love Martian Manhunter and you love Superman and you want to see those two kick some butt together, well, last night's finale of Supergirl gave it to you.
Oh yeah.
You know, when Supergirl began, it was like, this is Supergirl's world, and it still is, most definitely. But they've expanded her world. I mean, she's met the Flash. Supergirl now has Superman. He just has her back. I mean, he shows up here and there. He had 3 episodes this season. I'm hoping we'll see more of him next year. Martian Manhunter, who is John Johns, the character is one of my favorite in the DC universe, and I think we're seeing probably the best version we're ever going to see of Martian Manhunter. Yeah. He's just amazing on there. Great finale though. I have no problems with Supergirl whatsoever.
Oh, there you go.
Tonight we have the Flash. We're doing the finale on there. We're going to find out what happens between Barry Allen losing Iris West, and if he can change things to save her life. Who knows? Tomorrow night we have Arrow, and then I think that'll do it. Legends of Tomorrow actually finished early this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you've already seen that. Was that last week?
Oh no, that was about a month ago now.
Oh, about a month ago. Okay.
Yeah, they the Legends actually crash landed on a I believe it was a Los Angeles, possibly a San Francisco, that's now inhabited by dinosaurs in modern day. So they've screwed the timeline up along the way somewhere.
Oh, there you go. So it's not like Koopa, is it?
No. I wouldn't think so. But,
okay.
But the shows, to me, I mean, it's just amazing seeing what DC's done with television versus the movie universe. It's just, they're getting everything right. I mean, as a DC fan, and some people might, want to argue with me on this, but I'm just having so much fun watching the Flash take on his rogues. I mean, he's just got so many great villains on there.
Yeah.
We've seen the Reverse Flash, we've seen Zoom, we've seen Mirror Master, we've seen just so many great characters on there that we've seen in the comic books. Gorilla Grodd, amazing on there. You would have never thought you would have seen that on television or the movies. King Shark. I mean, the CGI isn't Game of Thrones worthy,
right?
But it is comic book world believable when you watch this. You're like, well, they look better than they look drawn in the comics. So I'm with them on this. This is fun.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing. DC does seem to have this, where they seem to be kind of scared in the movie side of it to go too far.
Yeah. Too
far out off the reality side of things.
Yeah.
But in television and the animated stuff that they do, they don't. For some reason, they just don't seem to have that same fear. Yeah. And they can go out and do it. And you were telling me also that they're loosening some things up in the television shows about as compared to. I forget what it was you were telling me. Is compared to the movies, it was something where if a character's appearing in the movies, they can't appear in TV.
Yeah, and I think that all started with Arrow a couple of seasons ago. They actually had Amanda Waller on there who runs Suicide Squad in the movie universe.
Right.
And was it Deadshot, who was played by Will Smith in the movies, was also a character on Arrow.
Right.
Well, once DC Movies decided that, well, we're using Deadshot and Amanda Waller, the Arrowverse on television killed off Amanda Waller and killed off Deadshot. It was like they're just gone. And these were great characters on television. And we've seen that for a couple of years in the Arrowverse. Well, then all of a sudden, Superman's on Supergirl, who's also in the movies. And it's a older Superman who is known by this universe as Earth, and he's the savior of mankind. Okay, we've got Martian Manhunter now, who's a great character on Supergirl. All of a sudden, I found out that Deadshot has made a cameo since things have loosened up on the Arrowverse. We've got Deathstroke, who was going to be played as the villain in the next Batman movie with Ben Affleck, but apparently that has fallen apart. So
yeah, they threw the script away.
Yeah, they threw and it was what's his name from True Blood? Was it Joe Magnolia?
I think so.
I probably got his name wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was going to play Deathstroke in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But when that fell apart, all of a sudden, Deathstroke's back on Arrow, who's a great character on the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Boomerang, that we know from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
He's also back on Arrow. So we're seeing just a mix of, these characters that were exclusively for the movies for some unknown reason. All of a sudden, they're back on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always confused by this because I was like, you can't use Amanda Waller, but you've got a TV show about the Flash called The Flash. So why can you have an entire series about one of your main characters that's going to have his own movie, but we can't use some of these smaller characters? So whatever the math is that DC's using, I'm glad that they're getting away from it and letting us decide as fans that, hey, I can separate the DC comic universe from the DC television universe from the DC movie universe.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Even though there's more of in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a lot of the stuff that happens on TV is in the same universe, although there is still kind of there's sort of a distance. I mean, I don't think you're not going to see characters like Daredevil in any of the movies, I don't believe.
No.
I'm not even sure they'll necessarily be referenced, but which is a shame because I'd kind of like to see that.
Yeah, they're great characters.
They're great characters, but they do have their with Netflix being able to do these really long, really interesting. I don't know why I keep coughing, but these very interesting long form stories that you can't really get away with doing in the movies.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Marvel is they're leaving everything open with their Netflix series. I mean, with Daredevil, The Punisher, Elektra, all these characters that are great, but they're still making these very slight hints and these references to being a part of the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
But they're doing it in a way they can stay completely away from the Hulk and Thor, or they can open that universe up 10 years down the road and show that it's all together. Yeah. So they're not putting themselves in a box. They're keeping things where they have no limits.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of going on the same thing. Sony announced recently, I think it was in a tweet, I want to say 2 days ago,
mm-hmm.
either Sunday or Monday, that Sony tweeted a picture of Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yes,
yeah, Tom
I
Hardy
did.
with the Venom T-shirt, that he was being cast as Venom, and the movie's coming out in 2018, and apparently this is not part of this joint Sony Marvel Studios universe.
It's very confusing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, basically, what they're saying is they're going to create their own Sony Marvel universe, which apparently Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery is going to be involved in, but Spider-Man's not going to be around in.
Yeah, I'm wondering how does that work, because
well, I mean, Venom after a while turned into an anti-hero.
Yeah.
I mean, he was never really a villain per se. The only person he didn't like was Peter Parker. He'd go after Peter Parker and mess with him, but he didn't try to hurt anybody else.
No.
So, and later on, he did become more of, like I said, that anti-hero type character. But, so...
Are we saying, and I'm trying to get an understanding of this myself, is Peter Parker going to be like the glue that holds his universe to the Marvel universe, or how will this work? Because
well, see, that's the thing. Apparently, this Marvel, what they call the Sony Marvel universe, is going to be its own thing, and although these are characters that may have started out in Spider-Man's not really going to be a part of that world.
Yeah, that's...
Now,
I'm not sure about that, but I always trust Marvel.
Well, there you go. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work out. Now, the thing is, the deal that Sony has with Marvel is being able to do 6 movies with joint films with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so Civil War was 1, Homecoming will be 2, and then the 2 the
Infinity movie, I'm
sure. The two of them.
Yeah,
because there's going to be 2 of those, so that's 4.
Yeah.
So, and then you just got 2 left.
Yeah.
So
I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
But, have some concerns about doing a Venom movie, which I love the character, and if it's done right, and Tom Hardy seems like a great idea for this character. Yeah. You know, how are the fans going to look at that if there's limits to how that story can be told?
Well, again, I guess this kind of comes down to the same thing that we were talking before with the DC television universe as compared to the DC movie universe. That this is going to be kind of its separate thing.
Yeah.
And then after, again, these last two films are done with Spider-Man, it's a possibility they may recast Spider-Man and bring him into that universe. It's possible.
Or they could just decide, hey, this is going so well, we could bring him into this universe. I mean, we're talking 4 more movies down the road from after Homecoming, so anything could happen. But
depending on how well Homecoming does, I think basically what they're doing, and I can see this they're hedging their bets. Is they're getting a lot of this attention because of Spider-Man. And they say, well, I'll tell you what, let's build this other thing off the popularity of Spider-Man. We can create our own franchise over characters that we still own that Marvel's not involved in. We can build this world, and if Spider-Man works out, fantastic. But we can build this other pocket Marvel universe, and by doing that, we can if things don't pan out very well, or after these 6 movies are done, we decide we don't want to do this anymore, then we can bring Spider-Man into this Sony Marvel universe, and then we can just take it from there. So I see the logic in it.
One thing I think people aren't thinking about with Spider-Man Homecoming, I know a lot of people were excited the crossover, seeing Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, but I think a lot of people are just forgetting Michael Keaton is in this movie.
Oh, yes.
As the Vulture, and I don't know if there's some kids out there listening don't realize what an awesome Batman he was starting in '89. But Keaton has some acting chops. I cannot wait to see him play the villain.
Oh, well, he does a good villain.
He does.
And of course, I remember him back from Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
He was a great antagonist in that film.
Oh yeah. But what we're seeing of Keaton in this, I mean, it looks like he's going to be a very dark take on Vulture, which, of course, it should be dark, but he looks very threatening, whether in costume or as his alter ego. I mean, I think Keaton's going to steal the show. Maybe we don't see that coming.
Well, I see it coming because just a little bit that I've seen of him in the trailer, he looks like he's bad news.
Oh yeah. He's very menacing. He's very threatening to Peter Parker.
Oh yeah, to a point where, of course, in the trailer, Tony Stark's saying, "Hey, leave him alone. We've got people to deal with the situation. He's out of your league."
Yeah.
And for this movie to work, of course, then you have to believe that the Vulture is somebody that could deal with Spider-Man face to face, and he's a risk. He's he will mess Spider-Man up. And just like I said, just from what I've seen in the trailer, he is somebody who can very easily take the wall crawler down.
You think he could take Jamie Foxx?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Vulture could take Electro.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's a possibility. He's he might sticking him in a battery and and using it. Who knows? But we can't really bash Sony too. They tried.
Yeah, they tried hard.
They tried with those last two and
I love the choice for Spider-Man in those 2 movies. I enjoyed the guy.
He was a closer. I think he was a closer Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire was.
Absolutely, yeah. But I enjoyed Tobey Maguire up until Spider-Man 3, and then it was just all of a sudden they went Joel Schumacher with Spider-Man 3
they did.
My book. It was too much going on. They're not taking these characters serious anymore.
Yeah.
And that was a movie where I was glad when it ended because I was like, I hope this is the last time we see these characters, these actors in this series.
Yeah, because they'd gotten a little threadbare.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Amazing Spider-Man 2, they just threw everything in, but the kitchen sink.
Yeah, they tried it all.
They did, and the whole thing with the Green Goblin was so rushed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a big fan of the design.
Well, the thing is Jamie Foxx, I love the actor. but him and his character were not needed in this movie. I mean, he might have done well as the only villain if it would have been written better down the road, but where it was at that point, I did not enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they, like I said, they tried, and I'm amazed. I never thought I would see the day where we would see Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're seeing it, and so I'm just absolutely just excited for Homecoming.
Oh, you gotta be.
And to see what happens next. Yeah. So, well, I think what we're going to do here to kind of wrap things up is there was a news. I saw a news article last night, and Collider put out a video also.
Yeah. And
basically, they reported that Zack and Deborah Snyder are leaving the Justice League movie. They were scheduled to do reshoots for it, but Joss Whedon is going to be doing the reshoots, and they're stepping away.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that they're doing that is last month, apparently, their daughter Autumn, 20-year-old daughter, committed suicide last month.
This was a horrible story.
Yeah, and it wasn't reported anywhere because they didn't want that to get out into the news, and I can certainly understand that.
Yes.
And Zack Snyder, he took a 2-week break, and then he came back. He thought maybe if he just kind of buried himself in his work thing, it might be able to kind of ease things, but he just realized that with the strain of having to do all this, plus, I mean, the obvious burden of dealing with what's going on in his family right now, with this horrible situation, that it was going to be too much, and he just yesterday or the day before, decided to step away from it, and of course it was announced in the news that they would be stepping away from it, and Joss Whedon would be taking over the reshoots, which my understanding was he was kind of in the background working with the Snyders on the reshoots anyway, and it seems like he's going to be taking a more active role in the DC Cinematic Universe. That was the plan. All that we knew originally was that he was going to be taking on Batgirl and directing that.
Yeah.
But it looks like the plan all along was basically to kind of ease him in. And, of course, with what he was able to do with Avengers and that sort of thing, that's certainly sort of a positive to say for the DC Cinematic Universe. I think with Joss at the wheel, things are going to be... I think things are going to be doing an upturn. But
well, Zack's leaving his work in good hands. There's not a doubt there. It's unfortunate that it's happening the way it is, but if you're going to have someone have your back in that field of direction, Joss is a perfect candidate
is the guy
for this job.
But the thing about it is, when I got the news last night, I mean, I know that there's been a lot of people, and I've been one of them, who have said, that who have not necessarily been that happy with the direction that Zack Snyder had been taking the DC Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had our issues with it.
Yep.
And we have, in a sense, kind of hoped that, maybe somebody could come and maybe move it into a separate direction. But at the same time, not like this.
No, this is horrible.
The thing I'd say, basically, kind of for me, kind of a takeaway that I came from all of this is that, as geeks, we very easily get obsessed with our favorite properties.
Oh yeah, and we get upset,
and we get
excited.
We get excited about these things. We get upset when we think they're being kind of pulled in the wrong way. And the people who work on these these are real people who have to deal with real issues. It's easy to forget that these are real people sometimes with problems even more than we have to deal with ourselves.
They got jobs just like us, and they've got a behind-the-scenes life that we're never going to hear about, which I'm sure is why he tried to keep his situation quiet. I mean, it's not something you want to put out there for people, but it's such on a grand scale with what his job is.
Yeah.
And he finally had to say, I got to take a breath and step back. Well, it's totally understandable.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to make the news because he's operating one of the largest franchises in theaters right now.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so easy to forget that these are, you know, real people behind the scenes. Even though we might be upset about a certain direction, you know, we gotta, you know, it's easy to forget they're real people.
Yeah.
But it's important that we don't ever forget that that's the case.
This is the things that remind us that they're real people, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
Like
so
I said, it's. I hope the best for him and his family.
Oh yeah,
I'm
definitely.
Sure he'll pull through, but you know, take that break.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I can't say how long that's going to take before he.
No, you can't.
I mean, I do know that Warner Brothers has said that they're going to extend his first look deal, which means that that when he's ready to come back, they will be willing to work with him on other projects, which I think is very generous of Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah.
In fact, there was a point where they said that if when Zack Snyder was talking about the situation with them, that they even agreed to even move the date of the movie, which would have been very generous, but would have been very difficult for them to do because it's already, again, this is already set up and all the ads.
That could have been just financially disastrous for Warner Brothers. So
it could.
The show that they were willing to do that shows that they still have a lot of respect for Zack Snyder.
Yeah, definitely.
Regardless of what fans think, they still trust his vision because they're saying, "Come back when you're ready, man."
And we'll do something else definitely. Yeah. So. For Geek Watch, definitely we give our condolences to the Snyder family, and we will, you know, be waiting to see what you have in store for us next when you're ready to come back. So, with that said, that'll be the end of our podcast for this week. We'll be putting them out every Wednesday, and until next time, my name is Brian J. Hatchin with Tony Slack. Keep geeking out, folks, and we'll see you next time.
You guys take care.